Hello everyone! Today's video will be a flip through or a walkthrough of my bullet journal from January 2018 until now. So we are currently in the middle of March and I've almost filled half of my bullet journal by now. So I wanted to do a quick walkthrough showing you what I've done so far, what my main mistakes were, and the lessons I'm going to take for the second half of my bullet journal and my second bullet journal of this year. So if you want to know more about this particular notebook, you can check out my bullet journal setup video that I've posted a few months ago. It will be linked in the description below, as well as in the upper right corner of your screen, so go check it out if you are curious about this notebook. So if you've seen that setup video by now, you know the first half of this bullet journal. It starts with a very simple yearly view of the 12 months of 2018. And then I have my table of contents that is really empty as of now, since I figured out by now that I really don't use numbered pages, and a table of contents I really prefer to mark my pages with tabs on the corners instead of having to flip through my index and trying to find whatever page I'm looking for. These pages are of a challenge that I've started with in 2018. It's Boho Berries Challenge. You can also check that out in the description box. And then I start with my monthly logs, January, February and March. I have colored dots marking different classes. So I know, for instance, that on these days I'm going to have common law contracts, and in the yellow dot represents comparative private law. So there's an arrow pointing for the next 3 days, so I know that I would have comparative private law from the 8th of January until the 10th. These all look very similar. And afterwards I have my monthly overview and tracker, where I have things like a wish list, this month in a nutshell, as well as my priorities for the year, my main to-dos for that month, and then a YouTube planning overview with my blog posts for that month, as well as video ideas, any sponsor information, as well as more individual projects and book club information. Then I have my first weekly overview. And in my weekly overviews, the information really depends according to the week. So I always have a routine tracker that goes on a weekly basis, a happening this week section with the main events and places where I need to be in, and a to-do list for that particular week only. And normally my weekly overview only takes 1 page, and in the second page I do some more random stuff. For instance, in this page I had a second term overview with the name of my courses, my professors, the date for my final exams, as well as the type of evaluation. Also things like YouTube sponsor contacts and very simply daily to-do lists. In the second week I have the exact same layout, so routine tracker weekly, YouTube planner, to-do this week, happening this week. And then I have my daily spread, so I divide each page in 3, and each third of the page is like a major to-do list for that day, where I have things like events, like certain classes I need to take, as well as specific to-dos like go to the gym, clean bathroom, work on that paper, film this video, and so on. Usually, as I told you in my 5 habits that changed my life video, I block out Sundays in my planner. So for instance, you have 2 pages for 1 week and my page ends in Saturday, so I don't have anything planned for the Sunday. In this page I have a 12 books challenge that I found out in some type of blog posts, and these are like reading prompts where I try to figure out some books I want to read and fit them under these categories. Then I have another weekly view, same layout with my daily spreads. So this is a spreadsheet for a very intensive week of classes I had. I had 4 courses that week: the law of Brexit, comparative private law, environmental law, and tax law in an international context. And I had tons of readings to do, so I decided to do like a spreadsheet where I had all of my documents listed, and I would just mark them while I was reading them. Here I have a YouTube videos brainstorm page where I have topics I wanted to film for that particular week. And here's another weekly overview as I've shown you before. And this is a very simple page that I really like, which I've also talked about in my, I think it was my 10 organization tips, which is a habits and goals on a monthly overview. So I have 12 squares in this page, and each square represents a month of the year, where I have specific priorities for that month that I try to not repeat very often. Like for instance, in April I want to do like a restarting routine where I have a deep house clean, decluttering sessions, change around with my plans, try to reanalyze my year so far, plan for YouTube further down the line, as well as my business. For instance, in March I had like meditation as a new habit, start learning Japanese, wellness and health. So I try to divide each month by specific priorities I think I will get into for that month, and that really helps me understand that I have tons of time to do things that I want without feeling like I have to take on new habits each day, and I can actually divide them by month. This is another daily planner, as I've shown you. This was a preparation for my tax law exam spreadsheet, also all the PowerPoints, all the documents, all the case law I needed to read. And I'm actually using this so far, so I need to mark this page ASAP. This is my first page for February, so this is how I mark different months. I just have this empty page, then I mark here a monthly overview. This is a sticker from, I don't remember where this is from. I remember I saw it on Instagram, but it was very cheap. It was like 2 years of monthly stickers for €2.50 or something. Then I have this color tab that represents the month of February. And here I start to change things a little bit. So here I have a monthly overview in list form, which I really enjoyed for this year, for this month. So it was like a very simple list of all the days of February, and then in front of the day I have my most relevant event or task for that particular day, so I could just grab this list and know if anything important was happening during that particular day. And then in this side of the page I have the same layout, to-do list for the month, this month's wish list, as well as a YouTube overview page. As another week begins, I have the exact same layout. I think it's a little bit simplified at this point. I was trying to make it even more minimal as I went along. Then this is a very random page. It's called this month's projects. I have 2 papers planned out, actually 3 papers for my comparative corporate law class, my comparative private law, and the law of Brexit class. And this is when I was starting to do a more vertical layout type of planning, because in February, in the beginning of March, I had really packed days with tons of classes, so it was really important for me to understand which were the particular blocks of time each day I had to schedule any events or any tasks I had to do, so I decided that a vertical layout would work best for me. So it's the exact same thing, 6 days, no Sunday whatsoever, my main tasks, main events, and so on. And this went on for 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, I guess. And I've changed it a little bit as I was experimenting with different layouts. Here's another weekly overview, exact same thing as you can see. These are a very special couple of pages that I've marked with this Erin Condren sticker. These are actually my main goals for 2018. And I want to show you this because this year I decided to have only 5 main goals or resolutions, and I decided to divide them between tangible goals and non-tangible goals. So for my tangible goals, I really wanted to buy a piano this year and improve my musical skills, schedule a trip to London and Scotland, as well as create a company for my YouTube channel. And for my non-tangible goals, I wanted to detoxify my life and my body. You can find more about this in tons of lifestyle YouTube channels. and I wanted to start meditating. So this is my front cover for this very tiny guide of goals, and then I dedicate each page for one specific goal. So for instance, if I go to my first page, which is called Buy a Piano and Improve Musical Skills, I have things like choose the piano I want to buy, investigate loans and financial aid to buy a piano, arrange contacts for cheap piano tuners, arrange a binder or folder for sheet music, as well as create a budget or money plan to buy this piano. So this is mainly like an intensive project or goal planner for the entire year. So these are special pages that are marked on my planner, and I think this is really important because breaking a big goal into very small tasks, it makes you feel like you can accomplish that particular thing, and it makes you progress throughout the year to accomplish that thing. Moving along, we have more weekly overviews. This was a page that I used for my YouTube planner and sponsorship proposals that particular week. This is another weekly overview, same thing, same tasks, same events. This is a weekly overview, and this is like a full page spread of exams and papers I had to write. So I was trying to compilate information on deadlines, word limits, topic, etc. This is another weekly page with all the tasks, same thing. This was a monthly reflection for February, where I have things like what happened this month, what lesson did I learn, positive things that happened, negative things that happened, and carry on to the next month. And here I decided to do another experiment, and that was, instead of doing a monthly view on a list like in February, I decided to create a timeline. And this allowed me to understand the blocks of time where I was available to plan something, or I knew I had to dedicate my full attention to something. So for instance, this month I'm going to have tons of exams, and for example, these exams go for instance, my petroleum law class, my exam goes for 10 days. So I know that during this time. Then this is my sponsorship tracker, where I have the details for all my sponsor contacts and due dates and so on. And then sometimes I create specific pages for specific days that I know will be very intensive, regarding any tasks or things I have to get done. So for instance, here I had a particular spread only for the 24th and 25th of January. This is another weekly overview, and then more of that kind of vertical spread with all the classes I had to take for that week, marked on a color-coded basis. Another weekly spread. This is actually the weekly spread for next week, so it's really empty because I haven't filled it out yet. This is then a monthly habit tracker, because I figured that although I work well with weekly habit trackers, I also wanted to have a monthly version of my habit tracker so I could understand at a glance how successful I was being with having that habit. So I decided to have both versions of habit tracking. Then this is a page with big projects for a certain week of March, and I decided to use the matrix, the Eisenhower matrix method, with the urgent, important, urgent, not important, not urgent, important, and not urgent, non-important division, so I could prioritize my tasks according to that criteria, and it worked really well for me. And I'm thinking of how I'm going to incorporate this method in my next April spread and then in my next bullet journal. And this is just my weekend tasks for the 18th of March, and it's currently 18th of March as of now, and I have here film, bullet journal, flip through video. So after I close this bullet journal, I'm going to check that because it was one of my main tasks for today. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will probably do a second flip through as soon as I finish this notebook. I have actually bought another LOONG notebook for the second half of 2018. Let me just show you. So this is also a LOONG notebook. The only difference between these both notebooks is that this one is black and the cover resembles like a faux leather material instead of this like more plasticky feeling, and the stitching is also in black instead of white. I actually like that detail about this one, and I don't have it in the second notebook, but I think I would rather have a black notebook that goes well with all of my stuff instead of this caramel colored notebook. So if you want to check out this notebook, it's available on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description box down below. Most of the times I find it on Amazon, it's on sale. I bought this one for like, I think it was 9 euros or 10 euros, it was something like that. It was really cheap in comparison with Moleskine and Leuchtturm notebooks. So I invite you to go to the description box and check this out. It's the best bullet journal I ever had, and I don't think I'm going back to more mainstream brands like Moleskine or Leuchtturm whatsoever. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you next week. Bye!